Illinois has a new recruiting target here. Quinton Kitt, a 2027 class shooting guard from Illinois, from East Peoria, Illinois. He's a 6'6" shooting guard, currently unranked by all of the recruiting services, pretty much. But you can find tape on this kid. I don't think he's going to be unranked for overly long. For what it's worth, Quinton, this is his biggest offer right now. Illinois is trying to get way out ahead of this. The other offers that have been listed for Quinton include Bradley and Illinois State. Northwestern just offering Quinton Kit 2 days ago. So we're starting to see high majors take interest in him. But right now, Illinois way out ahead of this recruitment, the biggest name offer that he's got. And Quinton reflects that in what he has said. He told Joey Wagner after receiving this offer over the weekend after a strong performance in Memphis with the EYBL circuit. He said, quote, "It was just surreal. Just a crazy feeling that my state college offered me." So there's a chance here for Brad Underwood and staff to scoop up and land their in-state kid before some of the big dogs swoop in. Let's break down Quinton Kit. What do you see from him? What do I need to know about his game?
Well, for starters, I do like the angle of, I think that Brad and staff, you talk about the comments that were kind of taken like the best Illinois players aren't going to play for Illinois and things like that, even though that was hilarious coming off the fact that they had just got Mr. Basketball in Morez Johnson, who is no longer there, but that's neither here nor there. But there's been like this not confirmed issue, I guess, but like there's always been, I think, a little bit of a tension, at least recently, between, you know, high school hoops in Chicago, especially with guys that are mean streets guys, that's who Quentin plays for in the EYBL. Been very impressive in the EYBL so far. I think around 15.6 rebounds a game. Part of the reason why I think he picked up that Northwestern offer directly off of that, and then Illinois offered, obviously. But I think there's a lot to like about his game. I will say this. I don't necessarily I didn't necessarily fire up the film and say, okay, I can, how we watch some things and we're like, oh, I think some schools are just kind of late on this. I do somewhat see like, with all due respect, Northwestern or some of the other smaller schools, but obviously I think being a kid who's 2027, he is 6'6", he is a small forward who kind of does a little bit of everything. He has some things where he's spotting up and shooting. He has some stuff where he's like running baseline, shooting mid-range. I do think there is, a player here. And then he also was playing some booty ball in his high school stuff. So I think Brad might be watching that and like that as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the B word with him because he's shaped like Kyle Lowry from the waist down.
That's
And
that's crazy.
I'm curious what's going to happen when he gets closer to college because he's listed as a shooting guard. You watched the film, as did I. Does he look like a shooting guard to you?
Mm-mm.
Looks like a 6'5" center to me.
It looks like his he looks like, honestly,
Who?
great value Darian Williams.
Yeah, maybe. Which, like, look, you can be like a big bodied wing and ground and pound your way to a very productive, great college basketball career, possibly to the NBA. I'm not saying you can't, but it's interesting because when you're evaluating kids this young, like two classes away, and a big part of their game is either their body or their frame just being bigger than everybody else, that is usually a guy I like to question in terms of how it's going to translate. And from what I've seen on film with Quinton Kit, it's a lot of just being bigger than everybody else. Now, by bigger, I mean bulkier. He's huge. Cart, he is, as a sophomore, incoming junior in high school, he is 6'6", 205 pounds. I mean, that's like kind of unheard of, I think, for a high school sophomore, right? If you're that tall that quickly, usually you're like a skinny, lanky kid that needs to put on muscle and grow into his body. This kid does need to put on some muscle, but like I'm not kidding. He's just built like a linebacker.
Yeah.
And from the film clips that I've seen, it's all him catching in the paint. He's not really doing anything with the ball out on the perimeter. Some of it in transition he is, but like most of the time he's just like catching off 2 feet and kind of bullying people. So I don't know. Maybe the vision here from Brad is literally like, hey, this is a guy we could play through in the post, booty ball stuff. I would guess that as his recruiting profile gets updated, if he grows a couple more inches, he stops being listed as a shooting guard. Because to me, this kid is like, if he turns to 6'8", he's a power forward all day. And as a power forward prospect, I could see the vision more than if you're trying to tell me this is like a perimeter oriented two guard. I just don't see that in his game right now. But bodies can change. He's got 2 years. He could trim some weight. He could put on a lot more muscle. He could grow 3 inches. I don't know what's going to happen here. And he is very productive at minimum right now.
Yeah, so like in the stuff I'm watching, I think there's a little bit more perimeter stuff on there. I could see, and I'm not saying that he is this guy, right? But I could see Brad's pitch being like he's probably showing the Marcus Damask stuff, I think. Because there's
Think
a
so.
lot of like mid post, like fade type things in here. Like, what I'm saying? Catch it to booty ball type things. Don't necessarily think he's the greatest like 3-point shooter or shooter at all. But, I think he's at least at the high school level he's probably going up against, like you know what I'm saying, some kids that just don't know how to necessarily check this 6'6" kind of bulkier kid who's able to do like, mid-range fadeaway stuff.
Yeah, he does have like a really good back to the basket footwork game. So if that is the pitch, Damask, I see it. But again, like everything we're saying just makes me think power forward. Like he's great with his back to the basket. He's got a post fadeaway. Okay. Like he's power forward. I think that's what he is. And maybe again, maybe he develops more ball screen ability stuff later on, or maybe he grows 2 inches and just is a power forward. But Marcus Damask also like point forward was probably the right word, right? Because he had a lot of passing. I
Yeah,
don't know how much passing Quinton has, but he's got scoring with his back to the basket, that's for sure.
yeah, definitely.
So the mean streets part's interesting though. Like, does this feel like Illinois has mended things with mean streets, or
Maybe this is the first step.
maybe?
Yeah. I think it'd bode well for them to make sure that's good.
I think this goes one of two ways. Either Quinton Kit commits like now, like way too early, and it's just like I love Illinois through and through. I'm an everyday guy, or it never happens.
You know what I also think this might be from Illinois too?
What's that?
This is a play just to make sure that he doesn't go to Northwestern and bust their ass for because there's a world where he goes to Northwestern and they like Martinelli Barnheiser this kid eventually by like his junior season, and he's just like you know, being like Northwestern's Devin Royal-esque player.
Yeah, this is true. Um, I mean, the last time Illinois and Northwestern went head to head for a prospect, Phoenix Gill chose Northwestern, right?
I think Illinois didn't choose Phoenix Gill.
Is this a little get back?
A little, we want our get back
Yeah, Chris Collins come outside.
for Phoenix.